The diplomatic incident. The U.S. horizon drifted silently through the void between stars, its diplomatic flags displayed proudly across its hull. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge's observation window, her dark eyes fixed on the distant nebula that painted the space before them in brilliant purples and blues. 20 years of space service hadn't diminished her wonder at such sights, though today something else occupied her thoughts. "Captain," Lieutenant Rodriguez called from his station, "we're picking up a distress signal. It's like nothing I've ever seen before." Chen turned, her short silver-streaked hair catching the soft light of the bridge displays. "New frequency." "New everything, ma'am." "The encoding, the carrier wave, it's not in any of our databases." A smile tugged at Chen's lips. First contact scenarios were rare these days, with humanity having mapped most of their local stellar neighborhood. "Let's hear it." The bridge speakers crackled to life with a sound that made several crew members wince. It wasn't just alien, it was desperate, even through the barrier of unknown language. The fear was palpable. "Track it," Chen ordered, already moving toward her command chair. "Alert medical and first contact teams. Ensign Park, plot and intercept course." "Captain," her XO, Commander William Drake, stepped closer and lowered his voice. "Regulations state we should alert command first. This could be a trap." "Everything could be a trap, Will." Chen's eyes sparkled with the same curiosity that had driven her to the stars in the first place. "But what if it's not? What if someone out there needs our help?" The source of the distress call came into view 30 minutes later. A sleek vessel about half the size of the horizon, its hull decorated with what looked like crystalline growths. It was beautiful, but clearly damaged, with several sections venting atmosphere into space. "Life signs?" Chen asked. "Difficult to get clear readings through their hull material, but I'm detecting at least 20 distinct signatures. Nothing in our database matches their biosigns." Chen nodded. "Open a channel, all frequencies. Universal greeting protocol." But before their transmission could go out, space itself seemed to tear open behind the damaged vessel. A massive ship emerged, its design a stark contrast to the crystalline vessel, all sharp angles and weapon ports. "New contact," Rodriguez shouted. "They're powering weapons." The crystalline ship's distress call changed, becoming even more urgent. A new transmission cut across all frequencies, this one in perfect galactic standard. "Human vessel, this is Commander Vexthor Cal of the Dominion. The criminals you see before you are under our jurisdiction. Stand down and prepare to be boarded." Chen's jaw tightened. She'd heard rumors of the Vexthor Dominion, a species that had risen to power in the galactic east through force and intimidation. This was her first encounter with them, and already they were living up to their reputation. "Commander Vexthor," she responded, keeping her voice level. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earthship Horizon. We are responding to a distress call, as is our obligation under galactic law. Perhaps we could discuss." The Vexthor ship fired a warning shot that passed just meters from the crystalline vessel's hull. "There is nothing to discuss, human. These criminals will face Dominion justice. Interfere, and you will share their fate." Chen watched as the crystalline ship tried to maneuver away, its movements sluggish and desperate. She thought of all the first contacts humanity had made, all the friendships forged and alliances built. They hadn't reached the stars by turning their backs on those in need. "Commander Drake," she said quietly, "sound general quarters. Lieutenant Rodriguez, extend our shields around that vessel. Ensign Park, plot us between them and the Dominion ship." She took a deep breath, knowing her next words would have consequences that would echo across the galaxy. "And send a message to command. Tell them I did what any human would do." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, even as the Vexthor commander's furious demands filled their comm system. The horizon's shields sparkled as they extended to encompass the damaged crystalline ship, and Chen could almost feel the weight of history settling onto her shoulders. "You did do aka." The vexed Thor commander's voice boomed through the bridge speakers. "You dare interfere with Dominion authority?" Chen stood from her chair, straightening her uniform. "We dare to help those in need, Commander. If you wish to discuss this diplomatically, we're happy to do so. But if you fire on my ship, you'll learn exactly why humanity's reputation in this galaxy is well-earned." As if in response, more spatial tiers appeared around them, disgorging additional Dominion vessels. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Sometimes doing the right thing meant doing the difficult thing. And if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was beating impossible odds. "All hands," she announced shipwide. "Prepare for diplomatic complications." Rules of engagement. The next 6 hours aboard the U.S. Horizon were a masterclass in human adaptability. Captain Chen had managed to buy them time by citing 17 different sections of galactic law, while her crew worked frantically to stabilize their unexpected guests. The Zarkari, as they called themselves, proved to be a fascinating species. Their crystalline biology meant they literally reflected their emotions through shifting colors and patterns across their translucent bodies. Right now, most of them pulsed with deep blues of fear and gratitude as they huddled in the Horizon's medical bay. "They're scientists," Dr. Emma Santos reported, her dark eyes wide with excitement as she showed Chen the preliminary scans. "Their cellular structure is incredible. They can literally store and process information within their crystalline matrix. Their entire species is like a living quantum computer, which explains why the Dominion wants them so badly," Commander Drake added grimly. He stood at the medical bay window, watching as another Dominion warship propped out of FTL to join the growing blockade around them. "Latest count puts us at 7 warships to our 1. Chen studied the holographic readout of the Zarkari's neural pattern. "Have we managed to establish proper communication yet?" As if in answer, one of the Zarkari approached them. Unlike its companions, this one's crystalline form had a slight reddish tinge, marking it as one of their elders. It raised what appeared to be a hand, and suddenly the air filled with a cascade of holographic symbols. "We understand now." The symbols translated into both visual and auditory English. "Your language patterns are fascinating. Linear yet beautifully complex." The Zarkari's surface rippled with amber waves, their equivalent of a smile. "I am First Scholar Xerix. We owe you a great debt and an explanation." Before Xerix could continue, the ship's comm system crackled. "Captain," Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice was tense. "The Dominion commander is demanding an immediate response. He's threatening to declare war on the entire human alliance if we don't surrender the Zarkari in the next hour." Chen watched as Xerix's crystalline form darkened with what she now recognized as guilt. "Perhaps," she said softly, "you could start with why the Dominion is so determined to capture you." The explanation came in a flood of images and translated text. The Zarkari were peaceful researchers, pushing the boundaries of physics and energy manipulation. The Dominion had originally approached them as allies, offering protection and resources in exchange for their scientific expertise. But they didn't want clean energy or medical breakthroughs. Xerix's translation carried bitter harmonics. They wanted weapons, ways to tear apart space itself. When we refused, the scholar's form briefly flashed deep crimson. They decided to take what they wanted by force. "Captain," Drake interjected, "whatever their reasons, we're now facing a serious tactical situation. The Dominion ships have us surrounded, and even with our advanced shields, we can't hold them off forever." Chen nodded, but her attention was caught by something in the Zarkari's earlier data stream. "First Scholar Xerix, these equations you were working on, they look similar to our own research into spatial mechanics." "Yes." Xerix pulsed with excited yellows. "We've been analyzing your scientific databases. Your species' approach to physics is unorthodox. You make intuitive leaps that we would never consider if we could combine our methodologies." "Captain," Rodriguez's voice interrupted again. 45 minutes until the Dominion's deadline. Chen looked around the medical bay at the Zarkari refugees, at her own crew working alongside them, sharing knowledge and techniques even in this crisis. She thought about humanity's history, about all the times they'd faced overwhelming odds and found a way through not by being the strongest, but by being the most innovative. "First scholar," she said, a plan already forming. "How would you like to give us a crash course in Zarkari physics?" "Commander Drake, assemble a team of our best engineers and tactical officers. Dr. Santos, I want you to focus on understanding exactly how the Zarkari store and process information in their crystalline structure." "Captain." Drake raised an eyebrow. "What exactly are you planning?" Chen smiled, the same smile that had worried her instructors at the academy and later terrified her opponents. "The Dominion thinks they can bully us into submission because they have superior numbers and firepower. But they're about to learn what happens when human ingenuity meets Zarkari knowledge." She turned to Zurix, whose crystalline form was now rippling with curious green patterns. "Your people refuse to build weapons for the Dominion. I respect that. But right now, we need to defend ourselves. Would you be willing to help us modify our shields in ways they won't expect?" Zerix's surface suddenly blazed with brilliant white understanding. "Ah, not weapons of destruction, but tools of protection. Yes, yes, I believe we can help each other." The scholar's form shifted, projecting complex equations into the air. "There is something we theorized, combining crystalline resonance with electromagnetic fields. We never implemented it because we couldn't stabilize the power requirements, but your ship's reactor design." "Captain," Rodriguez called down one final time. 30 minutes to deadline. The Dominion ships are charging weapons." Chen watched as her human crew and the Zarkari scientists began working together, already building off each other's ideas in ways neither species could have managed alone. "Let them charge their weapons," she said quietly. "They're about to learn that humanity doesn't take kindly to bullies, and we're very, very good at finding creative solutions to impossible problems." The human factor. The Horizon's engineering bay had never seen anything quite like this. Human engineers worked alongside Zarkari scientists, their different approaches to physics creating sparks of innovation that were almost visible in the air. The Zarkari's crystalline bodies pulsed with rapid-fire calculations while human intuition guided them toward practical applications. "It's not just about power output," Lieutenant Maria Padel explained, her hands dancing across a holographic display. "It's about how we perceive space itself." She turned to the Zarkari scientist beside her, whose form rippled with contemplative blue patterns. "Your species sees reality through crystalline matrices, while we see it through organic neural networks. But both perspectives are valid." First Scholar Zurix floated closer, projecting a complex series of equations into the air. "Yes, yes. Your species' understanding of quantum uncertainty. It's imprecise by our standards, but that very imprecision allows for possibilities we would never consider." 10 minutes to deadline, the ship's AI announced calmly. Captain Chen stood at the center of this controlled chaos, watching as human creativity merged with Zarkari precision. The plan they'd developed was audacious, perhaps even insane, but those were the kinds of plans humans did best. "Status report," she called out. Commander Drake looked up from where he was coordinating with the tactical team. "Shield modifications at 80%. The Zarkari crystalline resonance technology is integrating with our systems better than we expected. But Captain," he lowered his voice, "what we're attempting has never been done before. The power requirements alone are precisely why it will work." Chen finished. "The Dominion expects us to think like them, to fight like them. They're not prepared for human improvisation." The ship's comm system crackled to life. "Human vessel," Commander Vexthor's voice carried equal parts arrogance and irritation. "Your time is up. Surrender the criminals now, or face the consequences of your defiance." Chen took a deep breath, letting her gaze sweep across the engineering bay. Humans and Zarkari working together, each bringing their unique strengths to bear. This was what humanity did best, not just surviving against the odds, but bringing out the best in others. "This is Captain Chen," she responded, her voice steady. "We've had time to consider your demands, Commander. Would you like to hear our answer?" A deep chuckle came across the comm. Finally, some sense from the humans. "Prepare to." "Now," Chen barked. Lieutenant Patel slammed her hand down on the activation sequence. The Horizon's shields, already extended around the damaged Zarkari vessel, began to pulse with crystalline energy. The Zarkari scientists' bodies glowed in harmony with the shield frequency, their natural ability to store and process quantum information amplifying the effect. What happened next would be studied in military academies across the galaxy for years to come. The modified shields didn't just deflect the Dominion's opening salvo. They absorbed it, the crystalline resonance patterns transforming enemy fire into usable energy through a process that violated at least 3 impossible laws of physics. Impossible. Commander Vexthor's voice cracked with disbelief. "Our sensors show. This cannot be." "That's humanity's specialty," Chen replied, allowing herself a small smile. "Doing the impossible. Now, would you like to see what happens when we release all that energy you just gave us?" The Horizon's shields began to shimmer with accumulated power, crystalline patterns dancing across their surface like living lightning. The Zarkari scientists were literally glowing now, their bodies serving as quantum processors to manage the enormous energy throughput. "Final warning, Commander," Chen announced. "Withdraw your ships, or we'll be forced to demonstrate exactly why picking a fight with humanity is generally considered a bad idea throughout the galaxy." "You wouldn't dare," Vexthor snarled. "Even with your stolen Zarkari technology, you're still outnumbered 7-1. Chen's smile widened. "About those odds, Lieutenant Patel, would you care to explain to the commander why that's not quite accurate?" The young engineer's voice carried the distinctive excitement of someone about to demonstrate a particularly clever solution. "The crystalline resonance pattern we've established. It's not just absorbing energy. It's creating a quantum entanglement field. In about 30 seconds, all 7 of your ships will effectively be targeting each other, whether you want to or not." A stunned silence fell across the comm channel. In the space around them, the Dominion ships' weapons suddenly powered down as their targeting systems began to malfunction, each vessel reading the others as hostile targets. "This is impossible," Vexthor repeated, but this time his voice held a note of fear. "Our weapons technology is superior in every way." "Superior technology isn't everything," Chen replied calmly. "Sometimes you need to think outside the box, or in this case, outside normal spacetime." She turned to First Scholar Zurich, whose crystalline form was pulsing with what she now recognized as amazement. "Would you like to add anything?" The Zarkari scientist projected their response for all to hear. "We refuse to build weapons for the Dominion because we believe in preserving life, not destroying it. The humans, they showed us that defense can be more powerful than offense. That protection can overcome aggression. So, Commander," Chen returned her attention to the comm, "shall we discuss those demands of yours again? Or would you prefer to see what else humans can do when we put our minds to it?" Breaking point. The silence that followed lasted exactly 12 seconds. Then Commander Vexthor's laughter filled the comm channel. Not the arrogant chuckle from before, but something darker, more dangerous. "Clever, humans. Very clever. But you forget something." The Dominion commander's voice dropped to a growl. "We didn't become the dominant force in this sector by accepting defeat." Multiple spatial tiers suddenly appeared around them, disgorging not warships this time, but smaller, faster vessels. Attack craft poured out of the rifts like angry insects from a disturbed hive. "Striker squadrons," Drake called out. "Hundreds of them. They're too small for the quantum entanglement field to affect effectively." Chen watched as the swarm of fighters began to circle the horizon, just outside their modified shield perimeter. "They're looking for weak points," she muttered. Then louder, "All hands, battle stations. Dr. Santos, get our guests to the inner chambers." Lieutenant Patel, How long can we maintain the crystalline resonance field? The power drain is significant, Paddle reported, her fingers flying across multiple displays. Maybe 20 minutes at current levels, less if those fighters start making attack runs. First Scholar Xerix floated forward, their crystalline form pulsing with rapid calculations. Captain, we may have a solution. But they hesitated, colors swirling with concern. It would require direct neural interface between your ship's systems and our crystalline matrices. Absolutely not, Drake cut in. The risks of connecting our computer core directly to alien consciousness would be considerable, Chen finished, but her eyes were fixed on Xerix. Just like the risks you took refusing to build weapons for the Dominion, just like the risks we took sheltering you. She straightened her uniform. Explain the interface process. As Xerix projected their explanation, the first wave of striker craft began their attack runs. The Horizon's modified shields caught most of the incoming fire, but the smaller impacts weren't providing enough energy to sustain the quantum entanglement field. Warning indicators began flashing across every console. The strikers are coordinating their attacks, Rodriguez reported from Tactical. They're learning our shield harmonics, adapting their weapon frequencies. Clever bastards. Chen listened to Xerix's proposal while watching the battle unfold. What the Zarkari suggested was unprecedented, a direct merger of their crystalline neural networks with human technology. The potential benefits were enormous, but so were the dangers. One wrong calculation, one misaligned connection, and they could fry both their systems and the Zarkari's consciousness. How many of your people would need to participate? She asked. 3 would be optimal, Xerix responded, their form shifting through complex patterns. Myself and 2 others. We would essentially become living quantum processors for your ship, allowing for microsecond adjustments to shield harmonics and energy distribution. Another volley from the striker squadrons rocked the ship. Shields at 60% and dropping. Patel called out. We're losing the entanglement field. Chen made her decision. Dr. Santos, prep the neural interface lab. Commander Drake, you have the bridge. First Scholar Xerix, choose your volunteers and... Captain, Drake interrupted, his voice tight with concern. Regulations specifically prohibit. Regulations, Chen said quietly, were written before we knew the Zarkari existed, before we knew the Dominion would hunt down peaceful scientists for refusing to build weapons of mass destruction. She turned to face her XO fully. Sometimes, Will, we have to trust not just in our own capabilities, but in the goodwill of others. That's what makes us human. The ship shuddered again as another wave of strikers made their attack run. Chen could see the strain on her crew's faces as they fought to maintain the failing shield grid. But she could also see the determination in their eyes, the same determination she'd seen countless times before when humans faced impossible odds. Besides, she added with a grim smile, if there's one thing humans excel at, it's improvising when the rulebook goes out the window. First Scholar Xerix, are your volunteers ready? The Zarkari scientists' form pulsed with affirmative patterns. 2 other Zarkari moved forward, their crystalline bodies already synchronizing their quantum states in preparation for the interface. What you propose, Xerix said, their translation carrying complex harmonics of both fear and excitement, has never been attempted. The merging of organic human consciousness, mechanical computer systems, and crystalline quantum processing. Then we'll be the first, Chen replied simply. That's another thing humans are good at. She tapped her comm badge. Dr. Santos, begin interface preparations. Lieutenant Patel, reroute all non-essential power to the shield grid. And someone tell Commander Vexthor, her smile turned predatory, that he's about to witness something unprecedented in galactic history. As they hurried toward the neural interface lab, Chen caught snippets of amazed conversation between her human crew and their Zarkari allies. Both species were frightened, yes, but also exhilarated by the possibilities of what they were about to attempt. That, she reflected, was perhaps humanity's greatest strength, the ability to turn fear into determination, uncertainty into innovation, and impossible situations into opportunities for advancement. Behind them, the Striker squadrons continued their relentless assault, unaware that they were about to face something entirely new. The combined power of human intuition, technological prowess, and Zar-Carry quantum consciousness, all working in perfect harmony. Humanity's mark. The Neural Interface Lab hummed with energy as Dr. Santos made the final connections. 3 Zar-Carry scientists, their crystalline forms now integrated directly into the Horizon systems, pulsed with patterns that mirrored the ship's power fluctuations. Captain Chen sat in the central interface chair, neural connectors snaking from her temples to join the elaborate network. Neural synchronization at 85% and climbing. Santos reported, her voice tight with concentration. Quantum coherence stable. Captain, are you ready? Chen took a deep breath, feeling the strange dual awareness of her own consciousness and the ship's systems growing stronger. Ready. First, Scholar Xerix. The Zar-Carry's response came not in words or projected symbols, but as a direct impression in her mind, a cascade of colors and patterns that somehow translated into perfect understanding. They were ready. Initiating final synchronization in 3, 2, 1. The universe exploded into crystalline clarity. Chen gasped as her consciousness expanded, merged with both the Zar-Carry's quantum processing and the Horizon's computer core. She could feel every system, every power conduit, every shield harmonic. More than that, she could see space itself as the Zar-Carry saw it, a complex lattice of probability and potential, waiting to be shaped. This is incredible, she breathed. Through the ship's sensors, she could see the Striker squadrons continuing their attack pattern, but now she could perceive the quantum signatures of their spatial tiers, the subtle fluctuations in their shield frequencies. Captain. Drake's voice came through the comm. Shield's critical. Whatever you're going to do. I see it. Chen interrupted, but her voice had changed, carrying harmonics that echoed the Zar-Carry's crystalline resonance. I see everything. Through their merged consciousness, Chen and the Zar-Carry began to work. The shield grid transformed, no longer just a barrier but a living, adapting quantum field. Each Striker's attack was met with a precisely calibrated response, their energy absorbed and redirected in ways that defied conventional physics. Commander Vexthor's voice crackled through the comm, tight with disbelief. What are you doing? These readings. This is impossible. No, Chen responded, her voice still carrying those strange harmonics. Not impossible. Just unprecedented. Humanity's gift isn't our technology or our military might, Commander. It's our ability to imagine the impossible and then make it real. And when we work together with others. She let the sentence hang as the Horizon's shield suddenly flared with brilliant crystalline patterns. The Striker squadron's coordinated attack faltered as their weapons fire was not just absorbed but redirected, creating a cascading network of quantum-entangled energy that linked them all together. Through the merged consciousness, Chen could see the perfect moment approaching, the instant when all the probability waves would align. Now, she whispered, and the Zar-Carry responded in perfect synchronization. The energy they'd accumulated released not in a destructive burst, but in a precisely controlled quantum cascade. Every Striker squadron found their spatial drive systems linked, their weapons synchronized, their very positions in space-time entangled. They couldn't fire without targeting themselves, couldn't move without colliding with each other. By the void, Vexthor breathed. What have you done? Chen smiled, feeling the Zar-Carry's satisfaction merging with her own. We've shown you something new, Commander. A defense that requires no aggression, a strength that comes not from destruction, but from cooperation. Your Striker squadrons are unharmed, but they're also unable to attack. The same quantum entanglement that links them can be maintained indefinitely, using less energy than your ships expend on life support. The silence that followed was profound. Chen could feel the Zar-Carry's consciousness beginning to withdraw from the merge. their task complete. But before they separated completely, she caught a glimpse of their deeper thoughts, their amazement at how humans could take their precise, theoretical science and transform it into practical, unexpected applications. The Dominion. Vexthor's voice had lost its arrogance, replaced by something that might have been awe. We believe strength came from superior force, from compelling others to serve our will. But this is why the Zarkari refused to build weapons for you. Chen finished, her own consciousness settling back into its normal parameters as Dr. Santos began disconnecting the neural interfaces. They understood that true power doesn't come from domination. It comes from cooperation, from combining different perspectives to create something greater than the sum of its parts. The aftermath of what would become known as the Horizon Incident rippled across the galaxy. The Dominion, faced with proof that their military superiority could be countered by innovation and cooperation, began to reassess their expansionist policies. The Zarkari, no longer forced to hide their scientific advances, shared their knowledge freely with other species, leading to unprecedented advances in quantum physics and neural interface technology. And humanity. Humanity's reputation grew, not as warriors or conquerors, but as innovators and bridge builders. The species who could look at the impossible and say, let's try anyway. The people who would shelter refugees, defy empires, and literally merge minds with aliens if that's what it took to do the right thing. Captain Chen stood at her familiar spot by the bridge's observation window several days later, watching as the last Dominion ships departed. Beside her, First Scholar Xerix's crystalline form pulsed with gentle colors. Your people continue to surprise us, the Zarkari scientist commented. We believed we understood the mathematics of possibility, the quantum nature of reality. But humans, you show us that there are some things that cannot be calculated, only imagined and attempted. Chen smiled, touching the small crystalline growth that now adorned her neural implant, a gift from the Zarkari, a permanent reminder of what could be achieved when different species work together. That's the thing about humans, she said softly. We've never been very good at accepting limitations, but we're excellent at making friends. As if to emphasize her point, the ship's quantum communication array chimed with incoming messages from across the galaxy, species offering congratulations, requesting technological exchanges, or simply wanting to know more about the humans who had done the impossible. Chen's smile widened. They had faced impossible odds, defied an empire, and merged minds with an alien species. Just another day for humanity in the vast, endless frontier of space. And somewhere, in the quantum probability waves that the Zarkari could see and humans could imagine, new possibilities were already taking shape. Because that's what humans did best. They saw possibilities where others saw limitations, and they never, ever stopped reaching for the stars.